Hey, it's Greg Luther, and listen, if you're a real estate agent, there's a really good chance that your goals suck. Let me tell you what I mean by that. So, a lot of the agents that I meet with, they're running the sprint, but they're not really focused on the marathon. So they're only as good as their next month. They're worried about, I've got to get this deal closed, or I'm going to run out of money this month, or I'm not going to be able to pay my bills this month. The problem is the term is you can't see the forest because the trees are in the way. I don't have to tell you, you're getting older. Every single year, you're getting older. You're not 21 anymore. You can't figure, well, I can make this work later. I can build a retirement for myself later. You cannot do business that way. So many agents are focused on, I got to make enough money, get enough closings to get through next month, that they don't realize they've got to focus on this year's revenue. And most importantly, what does your freaking retirement look like? If you're an agent that's only focused on how do I pay my bills next month, please understand you can fast forward 30 years from now, and 30 years in the business, you're still going to be focused on next month. So this topic comes up because I'm actually preparing right now for a big event we're doing next week. I've got a lot of our members flying in next week to Orlando, Florida. We're doing a private members only event. I'm not trying to promote it to you if registration's closed for that. But we have a huge group of agents. There's 200 agents coming, but some of them did $60,000 last year. And some of them did over $1 million in income last year. So when you look at their total net worth, when you look at the retirement account, if I were to ask you right now, you individually as a real estate agent, what is your total net worth? That's going to be a sum of the way you've been thinking over the last few years. So if the actions that you're taking as a real estate agent are dictated to create good revenue for next month, rather than realizing it's not about paying your bills, it's not even making twice as much as what your bills are. It needs to be multiples of what your monthly bills are so that you can start to put money back. Buy all of your debts down, get yourself to zero, and start putting money back so that you can eventually retire. Because let me show you some math that will be very easy for you to follow, but it's going to be very revealing for you as well. So here's the math behind this. If you have bills of $8,000 a month, your mortgage, your car, your split with the office, your dues, whatever it is, you need $8,000 a month. If you make $8,000 next month, you're okay. Let's say $8,100. So you got a little bit of money in your pocket, okay? Next month, you make $8,000. You're good. The next month, you make $8,000. You're good. When can you retire? The answer is never. You will be the 93-year-old realtor that still needs to make $8,000 next month to retire. Maybe you got your mortgage paid off after 30 years, so you only need $6,000, but you're still only as good as your next closing. Now, I want to show you some math behind this. Keep those bills at $8,000, but now we get you making $16,000, okay? So you're making twice as much money. If we can double your business, don't go out and buy a Ferrari. I want you to keep the same bills that you have. You're paying that $8,000 a month in bills, but you're socking away $8,000 into some sort of retirement account. But here's the bad news about that. That's a bad idea. If you do that every single month for 5 years, you can only afford to retire for 5 years. You're going to run out of money. So whenever you plan to retire, you better plan on living to 95. So if you're retiring at 70 years old, you are going to have 25 years of no income but continuous expenses. And of course, you want to live a nice life. You want to go on vacations, enjoy that lifestyle where you were successful as an agent and now you're successfully retired. You don't want to be like sharing a meal with your spouse at Denny's, right? So if your goals aren't big enough, again, if your bills were $8,000 a month and you're making 16 grand a month, that's not enough because you are going to outlive your money. You need to make a big multiple more than what your monthly expenses are. And for so many agents that I meet with, I'm meeting with almost 200 agents that are flying in next month or next week. Our event is Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday in Orlando, and there's almost 200 agents flying in. And I see all different walks of life. One of the agents that will be there already has a net worth of $4 million. But there's several, I should say one has 4 million, one has 6 million, but there's several agents that have a negative net worth. Their total net worth, when you figure all their debts and all of their assets that they have, is negative. They're 300,000 upside down, 400,000 upside down. They still owe the IRS. They owe medical bills. They owe credit cards. They owe all of this stuff, and they're only as good as their next month. It's crushing you as a real estate agent if you're operating at that lower capacity. You have to go big in order for you to have enough profit that you can not only service your monthly debt, but be able to put back a lot of money. Again, not a one-to-one multiple. If your expenses are $8,000 a month, if you're making $16,000 a month, it is not enough. I know far too many 85-year-old real estate agents that have quite literally 50 years experience, and they're only as good as their next closing. You got to look at this as a wake-up call for yourself. You have to look at this to understand if you are not in a better position financially right now, if your net worth is not more than it was 5 years ago, you got to quit doing what you're doing. Because 5 years from now, it's going to be the same. And 5 years from then, it's going to be the same as well. You need a drastic multiple more than your monthly expenses so that you can start to put back 2 or 3 months worth of expenses every single month. So that way, if you do it for 5 years, you have 10 years worth in your retirement, or you have 15 years worth in your retirement. So one of the sessions that we're going to be covering, I believe Wednesday morning at the live event, is going to be about what's your total net worth right now, what's your debt look like, what's your total assets look like, and how do we get yourself to where you've got a couple $1 million in the bank, not assets or owning rental property or any of that crap that's fake anyway. I'm talking cash dollars in the bank. If it's less than a couple $1 million, you can't retire this year. Are you going to be able to get to that point in 2 years, 5 years, 10 years? What's it going to take for you to back into those numbers and know what next month needs to look like for you? If you don't understand that this whole business, this whole owning a small business thing as a real estate agent, if you don't understand it's nothing more than a math equation, you're going about the business all wrong. So I want you to think about what you need to do to get it on one piece of paper. You can do this on one piece of paper. You don't need big formats and software programs and figuring out how long you're going to be alive and all that stuff. You don't have to do that. What you need to do is think about how much longer do I plan to do this? I think if I really get something going, if I really get something going good for myself, I can do it for 5 more years. Or 8 more years, or however long it is for you. Maybe it's 20 years, however long that is. And then if you figure I need this much money in order to live each year, and this is how many years will be left until I'm 90 years old, do 90 or 95. Frankly, a lot of us will live to 3 digits. How many of you say, feed me to the sharks after 90 years old? I don't want to do it anymore, right? But I want you to figure how much money you're going to need for those 20 years of retirement or 30 years of retirement. Now we can divide that out over the amount of time you're going to be working so we can decide what kind of blueprint needs to be created for you to hit those numbers every single year. I have at the live event that I'm doing here next week, we're going to have countless agents that were struggling miserably. I was actually just doing the paperwork. I just put it in my folder over here. I was just doing the paperwork, getting ready for this presentation. We have one agent that was doing $20,000 to $25,000 a year. Boom, $220,000 the very next year. This isn't something you grow. You don't have to crawl before you walk. It's like a light switch. You turn it on or you turn it off. Okay, so we'll be discussing that. I know a lot of you will be at the live event next week. We're going to be discussing that. But even if you're not going, and again, I'm not promoting that for you, I want you to really think about what does your total net worth look like? And are you doing the right thing as a real estate agent? Are you doing what you should be doing here? Hey, Ray, I see you're on here. I appreciate everybody making comments here, by the way. So if you are watching, you have questions, that type of thing, I usually try to answer them. Ray's asking, do you recommend a business planning tool? Really, the best tool in the world is a notepad and a pen. And just write down, again, to keep this fairly brief, but to help everybody as much as possible, I plan to retire within X years, okay? Make it realistic, whatever that number is. But if I retire at that in 5 years, so let me give you some examples for me. Let's say I retired in 10 years, okay? So I write down 10 years. Well, I will be 52 years old in 10 years. So what that means is if I lived to 90, I need to live 38 years with no income. I want to live a nice life. I want to go on vacations. I want to do all the things that I want to do. But I need 38 years of expenses covered by my retirement in order for me to retire in that example, 52 years old. So I need to make an awful lot of money. Well, then I need to figure out, okay, my monthly expenses right now are X. So to divide out those 38 years I would need, oh my gosh, I need this much every month. That's why you see agents that are making $50,000 to $70,000 a month, because they're thinking further ahead. They're seeing the forest even through the trees. They're thinking further ahead. And we will have agents in the room. Listen, there's some that are just joining up with us that are near bankruptcy right now. And there's others that are gifting over $300,000 a year to charitable contributions. Why? Because they're making tons of money, they're doing extremely well, and they've played their cards right in creating a net worth for themselves. That's why you got in this business to begin with. So I want you to start with, now there's a lot of, formalities and systems and softwares and things like that you could use, but I don't think you need it. A pen and a pad of paper is all you need. And just do the math. Here's how old I am right now. Here's how many years are left until I'm 90 or 95 years old, which means I've got this many years that I need to pay for. Let me get a real plan together for myself. But when you see that you need $41,300 a month in income, just pulling, that's the rectal extraction method, I need $41,300 in income every single month, and I can't have a good month and then a bad month. I can't do the roller coaster income, because if I have $40,000 and then I was working so hard closing those deals, I don't have anything in contract, next month I need $80,000. It's not going to happen. So this comes down to, what do you need to do to know your number, first of all, so you have a target to shoot for. Right now, it's just blind archery, right? Let me just shoot everything I can shoot. Let me get whatever I can get. It's blind archery. But when you know what your target is financially as a real estate agent, now we can start to look at, okay, maybe I do see a retirement in my future. Maybe I can successfully build what I need to build, pay off all of my debts, and get where I need to be. But this comes down to planning. We've got, I don't have the agenda in front of me here, but we've got about 2 hours of that 3-day training that we're going to be really breaking down that number so that everybody in the room knows what their number is, exactly what their number is. You've got to do this. You can do it on your own. You don't need help. I don't need to sell you anything. You don't have to join up with any of my stuff. I'm not interested in that at all. I want to help you. So if you start thinking this way and you realize that you might be using the same mentality next month, you might be using the same mentality you were using 5 years ago in this business. And when you realize that here we are 5 years later and it hasn't really gotten you where you want to be, that we can look at your retirement account or your savings account or whatever it is and say, okay, now I have $600,000 in the bank, or now I have $800,000, whatever that number is for you. If it's still the same, you got to stop what you're doing. Stop digging the hole. There's a lot of people think, well, if I just keep digging and digging and digging, no, it's a hole you cannot get out of. You're literally burying yourself alive. So as a business owner, you got to get that mentality right. You've got to get some coaching and mentorship on here's why you got licensed to begin with. I can't tell you how many agents always ask me, hey, Greg, I'm thinking about switching to this other brokerage because they're a 100% company. I'll say, wait a minute, hold up here. The reason you got licensed in the first place was to become filthy, stinking rich and to help an awful lot of people inside your family. Now you're trying to shrink. Now you're moving to a smaller house. You're moving to a smaller brokerage. You're trying to find something where they don't take as much money. You don't have a problem with expenses. You have a problem with income. I want you to go buy a freaking Mercedes today. Don't trade in your other car. Buy another one. Have 2 in the driveway. What do you need? 1 closing every 4 months to pay for $1,000 a month car payment? You don't have a problem with expenses. Let's fix your income. I don't care if you're on a 50-50 split with your brokerage. If we fix your income, you don't have those problems anymore. So when you get that mentorship and you get those instant results that you need to have from whatever advice is given, you'll find that it gets your mindset right, it gets your income right, it gets your revenue where you need it to be. But if you don't do that, you shrink into oblivion. Let me go to a brokerage that charges less. Let me try a cell phone plan that doesn't cost me as much. Maybe I don't need that much data. Maybe I don't need this service, this cable service at my house. Are you kidding me? You're saving $100 here or $300 there when you make like 10 grand every time you close a house? Really, you're trying to save $300? You cannot cut your expenses to become wealthy. The only way to become wealthy is to increase your income. Forget your expenses. Go buy 2 more cars. Fix your income. When you get that part right, you will see that life becomes a lot easier. But nothing is more frustrating to me. Nothing is more disheartening to me or worrisome for me than to see a 60-year-old realtor that doesn't really have a net worth. I'm talking like less than $500,000 or something. Like they're nowhere near where they need to be. If they've only got 200 grand in the bank and they're 60 years old, they've been doing this for 30 years, it hurts my heart. Like, we got to stop what you're doing right now. We've got to find a better approach for you, because you will be the 95-year-old realtor that's only as good as your next closing. I'm telling you, this is crucial to your success. I want you to start thinking this way. I want you to write down on a piece of paper while we're here. Grab a piece of paper. Just flip over a piece of paper in front of you. Write down how old you want to be when you retire and how many years will be left until you're 90. Okay? That's how many years you need to be thinking about funding. You don't need to think about funding next month's bills. Are you kidding me? You need to think about those 19 years or 26 years, whatever the number is, that you're not going to have any income, but you're going to enjoy your life. You're going to enjoy how hard you work to earn where you're at now. Because that is what you're working for in the first place. You're not working to live every single day of your life. You're working so you can get to the motherland, so that you can get to an enjoyable lifestyle where you're not stressing out, losing sleep at night because a transaction's getting ready to fall apart and you're afraid your car is going to be repoed. You're doing this to you. You got to get the right mindset. You got to get the right mentorship and step-by-step direction. I've had, many of you know, I have a coaching program where I have a low-end group coaching, and then, it's $377 a month. And then I have a one-on-one program that's a heck of a lot more money, a big multiple of that. The people that say, man, I'm really struggling. I don't think I can afford this $300 a month. You know what you need? You need more coaching. The last thing you need is less coach. Let's say you have a personal trainer and you're like, man, I just keep gaining weight. You don't need to fire the personal trainer. You need you need a personal trainer that charges you more money because he comes and beats your freaking door down because you're going to exercise at your house since you won't go to the gym. He's coming to you. That's what you need. Don't agree to get fatter and fatter and fatter and fatter and fire the guy that could help you. You actually need more accountability. So if you've been doing this for a while and you think you know it all in real estate and this is how real estate is and everybody else is trying to scam you and all that stuff, you might want to look at your net worth. You might want to look at how long you need to do this in order for you to have enough money to retire. The number is usually a minimum of $2 million that you need to have in actual cash money, not assets that are kind of worth that much. I always love when someone says, well, this ring that I have right here, this ring's worth $2,000. No, it's not. It's not what you can sell it for. That's what you paid retail. You don't own a jewelry store. It's not worth $2,000. It's worth about $800. So your total net worth is liquid cash. And if it's less than $2 million, if you're in like your 50s and 60s and it's not at least 6 figures, preferably much higher, you better wake up. It's time to lose the ego for a minute, because kind of hard to have an ego when you're 75 and the electric's being shut off. Right? So now's a good time to lose that ego and start to get serious as a business owner and a planner to say, this is what I need to do as a real estate agent. Here's how I need to go bigger. I don't know if I need a team. I don't know if I need better marketing capital. I don't know if I need better systems or marketing assets, sales letters that will bring in that revenue for me, but I got to find a better approach. Okay, so hopefully that makes sense to you. I know we're going a little longer here today, but this is an important topic because, frankly, it's the only reason you're licensed. It's the only reason you sell real estate at all. You've got to get out of the rat race, jump off of that wheel that so many agents are on, where it's just next month, next month. I can't tell you how many agents say, well, I would love to go to the coaching retreat, but I got to stay here and work. No, you working for the last 10 years and struggling is what your problem is. What if we killed that thing dead? You know why? Because you got to kill it. You got to die before you can be reborn. So if you've been doing this 10 years and you can't take 2 days off of your business, you don't have a business. You have a disaster. If you've been doing this 10 years and you don't have $200,000, $300,000, $400,000 in the bank, you don't have a business. You have a disaster. You're actually owned by your business. Now, again, that's not talking to any person individually. That's talking to the group as a whole. That's any individual agent in the country. If they are not building a net worth, they are a bad business owner. They're not managing correctly. Now, you have that in you. You have success in you. You have greatness in you, but you have to allow that to happen. So that's what I try and help agents with doing. If you are not following, by the way, if you're not following our YouTube channel and our Facebook channel, I would encourage you to follow both. They're both free. I'm not selling you anything on there. You get all that content for free, but you should follow both pages. Both are at GregLutherCoaching.com. I'm adding more videos. A lot of times, my Facebook Lives we put over on YouTube, but I'm adding a lot more videos on YouTube here very soon on what you need to be doing, how you need to be thinking, and the actual action plans that you need to be taking as a real estate agent so you can go bigger. Let me tell you, if I'm coaching you and you're not making an extra $30,000, $40,000 a month, something ain't clicking. Something's not working right, because as a real estate agent, it is so easy to generate tons of business now that we have the internet. I mean, we could be on a beach at the Bahamas generating leads. I generate leads in my town for your zip code. So how can you not do it when you live there? It comes down to show me the action plan. Show me what I need to put in place. It's easy to do, but you've got to get yourself working the right way here. You can check out our site, GregLutherCoaching.com, but definitely follow the free stuff. Again, I don't need to sell. I make so much money, I give it away now. That's an awesome thing about working really hard and planning yourself the right way. I don't need to pressure anybody into anything, but I want you to get there. I want you to get to where you can help yourself. I know you have family members that would love your help every single month. I know you do. You may be that family member that you need your own help. You need to buy down your debts, get yourself to zero so that you can build a net worth. Maybe it's time to help yourself. So follow us here. If this is helpful for you, by the way, like this video. I know we've had a few people jumping on here. Tons of people watch this afterwards. Like this video. There should be a little button down here somewhere to like the video and share it with some friends. I think you'll find that if you know other real estate agents that aren't thinking the right way, sharing content like this may actually change the trajectory of someone's life. So down in the comments section, you can just tag them if you are watching on Facebook, and they'll be able to see it. And I can guarantee you they're going to thank you for it because, I've been in that rat race myself. My first 2 years in the business, I struggled miserably because I was thinking next closing, next closing. I was literally doing open houses thinking maybe I can get another closing next month. Didn't really look at the fact that I'm going to get older, right? When you're 22 years old and stupid, that happens. When you get to your 40s, 50s, 60s, it's kind of unacceptable to be stupid anymore as a business owner, right? So anyway, hopefully that's helpful for you. I'll quit rambling here. Any questions you have, you can always reach out to us. Support@GregLutherCoaching.com or hit us on Facebook, whatever. Like our page or follow our page at Greg Luther Coaching. That's on YouTube as well as Facebook and Instagram. And we'll plan on talking to you guys soon. So until then, think about how old you're going to be when you retire and how many years you're going to need to pay for yourself and your spouse, your loved ones. So we'll talk to you soon, and bye-bye for now. Hey, I hope you enjoyed that video, and listen, we've got a lot more information for you to help you with growing your real estate business. We load new videos nearly every day, and I want you to have access. So you got to do two important things. It's both totally free. Number one, I want you to subscribe to this channel. You'll see the little subscribe button for you to click. If you don't have an account with YouTube, set it up. It's totally free. You got to subscribe to this channel. And the most important factor, you got to ring the bell. Right next to that subscribe button, you'll see a little bell to turn on notifications. That will let you know every time I load a new money-making video to help you with growing your real estate business. Subscribe and make sure you ring the bell. We'll see you in the next video.